Come on in, sit right down. Keep your hands up and keep your chin down. Shut the door. Time to go with Randy Harris and Knockout Radio.
Ladies and gentlemen, Knockout Radio with Randy Harris is about to start. So get ready for the best MMA talk, games, interviews, prizes, and surprises anywhere. For Knockout Radio, I'm the voice, Ray Flores, and you can follow me on Twitter, twitter.com/Ray Flores MMA, or facebook.com/Ray Flores MMA. And now, here's Knockout Radio.
Hey-o. Hey, everybody.
What is going on, everybody? And first and foremost, you guys that don't like the Open, and I'm pointing to you mainly over there, by the way, Sean KO Radio.
What?
I saw you tapping your foot and banging your hand. And
there's nothing else to do but to accept it. So
I was actually just about to say that's one of my favorite little jingles.
There you go.
I like it.
Better than, was it Charlie Waffles?
All
right, before I go off, because I am very proud to be a Floridian right now, but I know you wanted to start the show.
Well, not necessarily to start the show, but I do have something to say.
Hold on a second.
Hold
on a second.
Oh, he's going to pull up the
One thing I was hoping to say at the beginning of the show.
Right. Say at the beginning, not necessarily start off.
That's the beginning of the show.
Somebody bring me a Diet Coke.
Ironic. I haven't had a Diet Coke all day because Mike Dolce is coming up.
Good. Diet Coke actually
it's probably worse.
Can cause diabetes. It's a couple times more likely.
I've been told that.
Diabetes.
I've been told that. But come on, I want to give you the floor.
All right, just
real quick, I did want to say thoughts and prayers go out to family of a former coworker and a friend of mine, Air Force Major Jeffrey Vincent was on leave off of in Miami area. He was scuba diving off the Cape Biscayne and was swept out to sea this past Sunday, and the search was suspended yesterday afternoon due to the unlikeliness that he is still alive. So just want to say thoughts and prayers go out to his family and all of our former coworkers.
Absolutely, and also got something from Torta Pizza that a family member, a friend, of theirs, the exact same thing just happened out by the Skyway.
I heard about that. Yeah, and actually, he was the owner or manager of one of the Gold's gyms in the area, I believe, as well. So another tragedy in the Knockout Radio family.
Speaking of death, Larry Mann, you piece of shit, I can't wait for you to be dead.
It's not that far from...
Well, we're supposed to be at the top of the hour. He should be dead already.
Well, they're sterilizing the needle as we speak.
Why? Why do you sterilize a needle that you're getting ready to stick in a dude to die?
There was a reason. I did read a couple weeks ago about it. Let me try to find it to get you the actual reasoning for it. Actually, no, I do remember. When they put the needle in, because there are 3 different chemicals that go through the body, if there is a last-minute stay, then it's not that going to kill him.
All right, well, we don't want a last-minute stay, so
just in case.
Use a bad needle, so in case...
A rusty needle.
So in case, a rusty needle, or a previously used needle.
One with the HIV.
That way, if for some reason Governor Scott changes his mind at the last minute, it's too late.
See, what you do is...
I need to say this real quick. Larry Mann was convicted of killing a 10-year-old 33 years ago.
And we've all been paying for
3 trials, correct? Or 3 different sentencing?
33 years ago.
Death row for that long.
See you, mate. Glad to know you.
Use a rusty spoon.
Actually, have you seen Law Abiding Citizen with Gerard Butler?
Fantastic movie.
Guys going...
Fantastic movie.
Same thing, but he switched the chemicals. So instead of numbing first, it paralyzed him. So he had to feel everything.
That's sweet.
It was pretty cool.
I think that should be automatic.
Diabolical.
I know it has nothing to do with Knockout Radio, but it knocks you out.
Knockout. Yeah.
And then you can listen to the radio as you slowly die a painful, even though you won't feel it, death. You do something like that. All right. Some stuff to get to.
Nice segue.
Yeah, you like that, huh? People have been on me for a long, long time about my fatness. And I'm not as fat as I used to be.
Yes.
All right?
You're a large individual who likes to eat a lot.
I love to eat. I love to eat.
What was your thing you told us a couple of weeks ago? Everyone's going to die. I might as well
die of food.
Enjoy life.
Yeah. Well, and I still agree with that. And I want to die from enjoying my food, but I don't want to die tonight.
Okay.
I don't want to die tomorrow.
You do tell the people at Outback that, though.
I do tell them that when I order my Alice Springs chicken.
I want a heart attack tonight.
Yeah, I do say that. I order the Alice Springs chicken, and I say extra cheese, extra, extra, extra. I want to die tonight. But
wow,
I really don't want to. I want to enjoy my food, but I want to continue eating, but I want to eat the right stuff. So people have been giving me crap about it for years. I went to the doctor the other day, and he basically said that I've got this problem and that problem, and found out how much Diet Coke I drank. And he says I should stop, and I haven't. I have a feeling our first guest,
bring me a Diet Coke.
That's our good friend Joey Diaz. I believe our first guest, and I've been waiting a long time to get Mike Dolce on, because he's going to really get my, so that I'll stop drinking it. I haven't drank one in 2 days now.
That's impressive.
Waiting for Mike Dolce.
I'm surprised you didn't have one waiting for you.
I didn't. So let's go. I believe he's out in Vegas. I'm sure he has some clients out there, but he's going to give us a few minutes. Mike Dolce, how are you?
I am doing awesome. How are you?
I'm doing well, but I have a feeling after talking to you, I might be doing even more better.
Yeah, so you've officially quit soda is what I understand.
Well, I don't know how long
going through withdrawals.
I am going through withdrawals. I got a little bit of the headache and stuff, but out of respect for you, because I know your feelings, and I want you to talk about how bad soda is so that I will continue to stay off them.
Well, soda, it's poison. It's poison. There's absolutely zero redeeming qualities within soda. It's pure garbage. It's processed sugar. And say, hey, Dolce, well, what about the sugar-free sodas? Those are even worse for you because now it's chemically created artificial ingredients that you're dumping into your body that just destroys your health. So I'm very happy to hear that you've officially quit. I will do my best to make sure you stick to that. If you need a foot up your ass, I'm happy to do it. But I know all your listeners, everybody involved will certainly be happy to kind of get in line behind me and make sure you keep moving forward with this brand new lifestyle you have.
I did a thing about last year. I lost 20-some pounds. I stopped drinking soda. I drank a lot of water. And the first soda I had after 45 days, it tasted like crap. But then after you drink it enough times, then it starts to go back and taste differently, I guess.
Yeah, and that's exactly it. And that's just how desensitized we are. I'll speak here about America and the American culture. We're so desensitized, we don't know what real food tastes like anymore. And that's a sad state because we've been pumped so full of propaganda by, big company, big corporations that they use their marketing strategies. They get a bunch of, dickheads. Pardon my language. I curse, unfortunately. They get a bunch of dickheads that sit in the room and say, how can we trick these people into buying our products that are going to totally destroy their health? And then what happens? Their partners in sister corporations say, well, great, you're going to destroy their health. You're going to give them all these metabolic diseases. Well, we're going to create these other chemicals to keep them alive through prescription medicines and unnecessary medical procedures so now they're making us sick and unhealthy, but then they're going to barely keep us alive through this other medicine. And that's why everybody's so broke, everybody's so poor, and everybody's so sick. 66% of American adults are obese. The number one killer of American adults is lifestyle-related diseases that comes from things like drinking soda and processed foods and sugars and things like that. So, this is my world. This is what I live every day. And again, I am so happy to hear that now you've joined me. You're on my side now. You're in my world.
I have joined the opposite side. And it's funny because you and I have talked probably for the last year and a half about coming on the program. And then I saw a tweet where you were ripping soda again. And I said, you know what? I have to do it. I have to get you on. We need to talk about these things. And one of the reasons I wanted to get you on, Mike, is, you're known for obviously the fight world. You're known for getting fighters ready, for fights, losing their weights, doing the things they need to do. But I wanted to talk to you about the everyday person like myself, like our listeners, how you can help us, better our health and a longer life.
I appreciate that. And it's a double-edged sword with me because I'm known primarily in the MMA world for working with mixed martial artists. And I'm known as being the guy that gets like the biggest, the guys in their division to lose weight and drop weight, and just these massive weight cuts are associated with the Dolce diet. but I work with less than 10 UFC fighters at any given point. I can't work with more than that because, each guy, they have, 6 or 8 week training camps. They got fight week. They're fighting 3 times a year. I can't be there. But the bulk of my work, my passion, I'm a longevity advocate, much more than a sports performance specialist. I mean, I happen to do that, but it's because I'm a longevity advocate. What I found, when you focus on the end result, I want to be a millionaire. I want to be a billionaire. Well, how do I become a billionaire? Why, I have to make decisions in this moment right now to get me to that end result. So if I want to live long, if I want to see my great-great-great-grandchildren, if I want to see them and play with them and be active with them and have them remember me as being a virile, active adult, not just some, visiting me in the hospital or, the retirement home kind of drooling on myself, calling everybody the wrong name, well, I got to make the tough decisions today. And as soon as you do that, you take your health. You make your health a priority. Everything takes care of itself. But I've proven that with my athletes. I believe I have the most elite stable of athletes in any sport. I'm fortunate that as a coach, I can work with any athlete from any team, regardless of affiliation. I don't work with the team. I don't work with the management company. I don't work with the promoter. I work with the human, with the individual. So that allows me to work with any, like Chael Sonnen, Vitor Belfort, Johnny Hendricks, Jake Ellenberger, Hector Lombard I'm working with now. I mean, I got these guys that are all dancing around each other in the same weight classes. They bring me in knowing that I could be working, with their opposition because of how amazing they feel. It's health, and that's what I do. It's health first. So how can I help the average person? I don't want to plug myself, but I've written books on that, which are heavily consumed by the average person. I'm an average person. I fought professionally and whatnot, but I'm a genetic average. I have no athletic ability. Everything I've ever done in sport was just through hard work and science and things like that. So I'm a regular person just like you and everybody else. It's the lifestyle decisions that we make now, and I call the Dolce diet principles. Number one, we eat earth-grown nutrients. If you're only eating food that comes naturally from the earth and prepared in very close to its natural state, well, you're not going to be obese anymore. It's almost impossible to overeat real foods, earth-grown foods, because it has such a high nutrient density, your appetite goes away. There's no room for it in your body. When you're eating processed foods or empty calories, your body is constantly craving more. You need to take in thousands and thousands and thousands of extra calories just to come close to getting the same nutrients that you would have gotten from much, much lower whole food sources. And that's why my weight cuts are so spectacular. My athletes only eat the highest, the most nutrient-dense foods, so we're able to go close to calorie deficit, but we don't go into nutrient deficit. And that's something that a lot of people, even I got PhDs and doctors that contact me all the time. How do you do that? It makes no sense. And, what you do is wrong and BS and this, and they try and argue. But you can't argue with the results. So the most elite athletes on the planet can do it. And it's there for everybody to see. When they step on the scale on Friday, they look amazing, and they say I look amazing, and all the athletes in line, the other 21 athletes in that UFC, that Zuffa line, see my guy, they're like, holy shit, why is he bouncing around talking, signing autographs? At this last UFC, Johnny Hendricks, we get there he's fighting Carlos Condit in Montreal. We get there on Tuesday, Johnny weighs 196, fully fed, fully hydrated, fully healthy. 4 days later on Friday, he's standing there in line at 171 pounds. He's running around, signing autographs for kids and taking photos with everybody. He's doing meet and greets with the fans, while everybody else is looking like, the walking wounded, like they're laying on the Normandy beach. No disrespect to our ancestors there, but that's what they look like in these lines. And they're looking at Johnny, and the coaches are coming up to me like, what did you do to that guy? Well, he's healthy. He's fed. He's hydrated. So if those guys, the elite, can do it, imagine what it does for regular people that just work 9 to 5. They don't have to fight Carlos Condit. They don't have to go out there and fight John Jones. And it just, the quality of life is so amazing compared to what you're used to. I mean, you're just coming off the soda. So you haven't yet experienced what it truly feels like to live at your full potential. That's my goal. So I'm kind of using the MMA world, these athletes, to talk to all 7 billion other humans on the planet about the value of real foods, of getting away from the garbage, and just kind of taking a longevity approach to your health and wellness.
Before I ask you a couple questions, about that, Johnny Hendricks was on this program the Wednesday before the fight. the Wednesday before the weigh-in. And he said that same thing. He told me, and I know that I texted you about this, he said, I'm 27 pounds over. I weigh in less than 48 hours, and I'm fine, I feel fine, and I'll be fine.
That's it. So I think that was our fourth or fifth fight. That was our fourth fight together. And John, the first time we worked together was for the John Fitch fight. And he was like, all right, this sounds weird. I mean, this is Johnny. He was a four-time state champion wrestler. I mean, he's been wrestling his entire life since he was 4 or 5 years old, cutting weight since he was 4 or 5 years old. Working with me was the first time he did it healthy. I mean, he's made thousands of weight cuts in his career. He's a multi-time D1 national champion wrestler. I mean, that cutting weight is part of his life. And for the first time ever, he said this in multiple interviews, so I'm kind of paraphrasing him, that for the first time ever, I know the real Johnny Hendricks is going to show up to compete because of the way I feel and the way, the Dolce diet got me ready, for the weight cut and the performance. The kid is finally healthy, and that's my job. My job is to keep these guys healthy. I'm not a miracle worker. I keep these guys healthy so they can step in the cage and perform at their full potential. That's 100% Johnny Hendricks in there. I just kind of eliminate all the obstacles in the way so it allows him to go out there and compete at his best.
All right, so people are now listening through MMAweekly.com, through Radio IO, through Knockout Radio to this program. They obviously know about you. They want to get started. Where do they start? Yep. What do they start? How do they kick it off right now?
The best, I mean, I like I said before, I have multiple books out there. The book that, that I read, I call it the White Belt book. It's called The Dolce Diet Living Lean. We're #1 international bestseller. The success has actually been absurd. I had no idea how successful it would be. And it's a self-published, so we don't have a major media house, publishing house behind us. It's all word of mouth that made this thing grow so fast. And it's a common sense approach that I give to people. I don't pretend I'm smarter than anybody. I don't try and talk over everybody's head and use science like everybody else does out there. And it's not a fad diet. It's not a template diet. You can be a vegan. You can be a pescatarian. You can be gluten-free. You can be a strict carnivore on my programs. That's the goal, because it's good for every human being, and that's kind of what I put forth in Living Lean. So when you get that, you kind of see the whole lifestyle, and I explain to you why this works and why you should look at it like that. And I'm a coach. Just like, a striking coach is going to teach how to throw, a punch, kick, knee combination. I teach the athlete, I teach the individual how to make the choices, but it's up to the individual to make the decisions in the moment. I can't be there. Just like the coach is in the corner, he can't throw the combo. I can't feed every single person, so I give them all the tools that they need to make the right decisions, and that's what I did in Living Lean. It's full of recipes. It's got a complete I say, throw out everything in your kitchen except what's on my grocery list and take the rest to the supermarket, buy it, bring it back home, and you're done. It's all earth-grown nutrients. Here's amazing recipes that you can make immediately. Check out my Twitter stream. It's just every day. It's nonstop. People around the world. So it's not just geographically dependent. I mean, I got people in Qatar and Sri Lanka and Dubai and Tokyo and up in Montreal and everywhere else, and even here in Las Vegas. They're all following the same deal. So it's universal. It's a universal approach. So that's the easiest way. You can download it on Kindle or iTunes for like $9 or $10. You can certainly buy the paperback at those same places, Barnes & Noble, Amazon, any major retailer, you can go and get that stuff. It doesn't have to be mine. I mean, I have the Mike Dolce Show, which is a podcast. It's free. It's twice a week, and I'm always answering people. I do the Q&A on Twitter. Every Sunday I do a free Q&A. I've answered over 804 questions I answered on one Sunday. I mean, that's about as fast as my little fingers can type on a BlackBerry. And that was the extension of the Mike Dolce Show, is to answer more questions and get a little longer with my replies. So I try and put as much free content out there as possible on all different websites and Facebook and all that stuff. So you can have the book or you can hear the free content, but really you follow the principles. You eat real food every 2 to 4 hours based on what you just did and what you're about to do. You eat until you're satisfied, but never until you're full. And then you just stay accountable. If you can follow that, stick to that, you're done. I mean, that's 80% right there. And then, all right, so you want to run a marathon, or you want to fight John Jones in a 5-round title fight, or you're going to go, climb Mount Kilimanjaro, or you just want to, lose 40 pounds and get sexy for your wife or for your husband because you got those 4 kids that are now in college, and you want to, have a life rebirth. We can skew that very easily in just that last few percent. But it's really those principles. That's the bulk. That's all you need to do to get going, and then you can just take it from there.
Talk about the food itself. I know that people have I'm looking at Living Lean on Amazon. Like you said, it's $9.99. I'm going to purchase it after the show. A lot of times when people go into diets, they don't like the foods that they're going to have to eat. But yours is a little different. You can eat pretty much anything you want that's in that realm.
That's it. And I'm an Italian. I'm an East Coast Italian. I grew up, in the kitchen. That's what Italians do. I mean, everything that happens in an Italian family is discussed. It's fought over food, at the kitchen table. No matter what happens, you look hungry. Get in here. Let's eat. Let's cook. What do you want? What do we make? So I grew up cooking and making food. My father, he was a New York firefighter. Back in his days, he was the chef for the house. So that was instilled in me. And then I have the science background and the athletic background. So I was able to take that love of food preparation, but mix in the ingredients, the vital, healthy ingredients. That's what I was able to do. And that's why the recipes are amazing. Like I call it, I call it East Coast breakfast toast. It's like a French toast derivative. Very similar, but it's using amazing, like an Ezekiel bread, which is a sprouted grain bread instead of like the old, white, processed Wonder Bread, or even like a whole wheat bread, which is mostly, that causes serious issues because it's highly processed, a lot of chemicals in there. So like an Ezekiel bread is also like fresh berry syrup. You don't need maple syrup. Let's get real fruits. It's a very simple recipe. I mean, power pastas, and I got this, apple fried quinoa. Chael Sonnen's favorite was this coconut fried chicken that he's eating. Like Luke Barnett's getting ready for Top 17. He's last night. I give him this huge plate of tropical fried chicken. He's like, what the? I'm eating fried chicken 3 nights before I'm weighing in. Like, this is absurd. It makes no sense. Where for all his fights previously, he's living on vegetables. He's eating little pieces of salad, and he's just struggling and suffering. And he's lighter now than he has been at this point before any other fight, and he feels amazing. So the recipes, if you don't like the recipe, and this is what happens with the fad diets, the bodybuilding diets, so I'm not going to say specific diets out there, but if all those other diets worked so well, people would look amazing, and they would stay on it. People fall off those diets, because if you eat boiled chicken and steamed broccoli and brown rice, you're going to lose weight. But you're going to freaking go crazy. You're going to want to kill yourself and everybody around you. So it's not sustainable, so it's not an option. What I was able to do is come up with food that is delicious and nutritious, making it sustainable, that anybody can eat, whether you're Vitor Belfort or his wife or his children. They're sitting down, they're eating the same meal every night during Vitor's training camps, and everybody's asking for more. That never happens. You find anybody else that's cutting weight, any other athlete that's on their diet, nobody wants to do it with them because it's just bland, it's boring, it's terrible. Not the Dolce diet, not my stuff. That's the most important factor, is the sustainability and the retention of the individual. That's how we build that longevity approach. Like I said, I look at the back end. How do we get people to be 120 years old? Well, we start immediately, but every day we have to keep them on that path. It can't be 3, 6, 9 weeks on and then they crash. They yo-yo. That's the most common thing, the yo-yo. They go, I lost 40 pounds on the Atkins diet. It was great. But then you gain 41 pounds back 3 months, 6 months later. I mean, that's scientifically proven. I mean, it's just everywhere. The stats are kind of, overwhelming with that. It's a sustainable existence. That's really what I push and preach. And that's why my recipes are, they're freaking amazing.
Well, I'm going to test them, and I can't wait to try them. But let me ask you this as people are listening. We're cutting out sodas. What are some of the other things to do right now? What are some of the other products that they need to stop eating or consuming ASAP?
Any processed food is bad. I say no pills, no powders, no potions. If it comes in a bag or a can or a box, you definitely need to read the ingredients, and probably you shouldn't be eating that. Now, there are a few good things out there that we can certainly get, but for the vast majority of things, get it out. That's why I say earth-grown nutrients. We want to get our food as close to the earth, as close to its natural state as possible. That ensures it has a high nutrient density. That means we can eat less calories and feel amazing. We are sustaining our muscle mass, our lean tissue. We're burning body fat because there's nothing extra to spill over and be stored. Our metabolism, our brain, our cognitive function, our hearts, our kidneys, our digestive system, everything's working the way genetically we were meant to. And I use this quote all the time. Earth-grown nutrients have sustained all of life on this planet since the dawn of time. In a blink of an eye in human existence, did man start to tamper with food and create and process food? A blink of an eye, not even a blink of an eye, did we start to mess with it. And that's why everybody is getting so sick and morbidly obese and dying of such terrible diseases, never before seen really on the planet. And people say, oh, well, Dolce, well, how come, people now, they're living longer than they did in years past? Well, they're not being chased by tigers or dinosaurs or, there's different plagues. And certainly medical intervention has helped to extend and eliminate certain diseases. But we have to do our job and eliminate the possibility of contracting these lifestyle-related diseases. So what do we do immediately? Drink water. Real water, pure water. That's step one. Get rid of all the garbage. You don't need to drink any other beverage. Start with water, and then from water, then we can switch over to fresh brewed teas. Green tea is absolutely amazing. And, but Dolce, that's so boring. I'm like, shut up. Boring. How bored are you being fat? You don't want to take off your shirt. It's hard to get laid. You don't want to go to the beach. How boring is that? Stop drinking the shit. Stop spending all your fucking money at the bar. Stop guzzling the sodas and the Rockstar drinks and the Slurpees and whatever else is out there. Stop that shit for a little while. Get back to real nutrients and see how boring it is when all of a sudden you're walking around at 10% body fat. You want to book vacations in sunny destinations because you want to show up the way you look. It doesn't matter if you're an 18-year-old or if you're a 68-year-old. I work with a lot of people over 65. They have a rebirth once they start to eat these foods. They get off their medicine because they don't need it anymore. There's no need anymore when they're eating real food because their body is finally healthy again. So we got the water, we got the naturally brewed teas, even some black coffee. I am a fan of, very high in antioxidants. You got to watch the source and the supplier. Black coffee, stay away from all the bullshit sweeteners. And then we go to the earth-grown nutrients, real foods. I don't know what to eat in the middle of the day. Eat a freaking apple and a handful of cashews. Eat 2 of those if you need to. Have an orange and an avocado. There's so many different things that you can make that taste delicious. Coconut rolled dates, which is another delicious snack. I have just dozens and dozens of delicious snacks and recipes that I can troubleshoot anybody's life, anybody's issue with real food and just watch how amazing it is. I've seen the transformation. I'm pretty passionate right now. I kind of hear your audience. I hear what you're asking. As soon as you try it, you feel it. From the first meal, people say, I feel great. I just ate that whole plate of food, and I feel like I can just go for a run right now. That's the goal. You feel good. Your digestive system's working properly. Your metabolism's moving. You're strong. You're virile. You're ready to go. You want to exercise now. You want to start extending and testing your boundaries. That's the whole concept of human existence. Deepak Chopra had said that human evolution is based upon dynamic effort and dynamic rest. If we're not working hard physically, then we are dying. We're not turning on that anabolic switch. If you're just sitting there at your computer all day and you're poisoning your body, well, guess what? Your body's preparing to die. Go to your doctor, get your blood work tested. He's going to say, Jesus Christ, you're deficient here, your cholesterol's starting to get out of line, you got problems with your heart, your blood sugar's got an issue. If you're eating properly and you're exercising well, that stuff goes away. You become the epitome of health. That's what I want to get people to. So how do we start immediately? It's water. It's fresh brewed teas, black coffees. Make juices and smoothies. It's so freaking easy to do, and I have a ton of delicious recipes. So do dozens of other smart people out there. You can go online, Google for free. And even check out my YouTube channel. I got a bunch of free recipes on there. It's inexpensive. Now, people say, well, it's too expensive to eat healthy, which, again, I say bullshit. You can actually follow the Dolce, as in Living Lean, you can follow my meal plan for under $50 a week as an adult. Now, if you think about that's less than $10 a day to be eating 4 to 6 times per day of whole quality nutrients, primarily organic nutrients. Now, if you can start doing a little gardening on your own, which you don't have to do, then that price goes down even further. I mean, it's true. You're not wasting food. And, well, the time, I don't have the time to do it. Well, how long do you stand in line at the restaurant to order at the sandwich shop? You stand in line for 5 or 10 minutes, and you order, you wait another 5 or 10 minutes, and you sit there and eat for another 5 or 10 minutes. In a half hour, I can make meals for 3 days in a half hour in my kitchen, using the highest quality nutrients on the planet. And that's just one time you're at Subway or wherever the hell you are, sitting in line at Taco Bell in the drive-thru, or even waiting for a Starbucks latte. The time is there. It's the excuses. Now, I've had the personal experience of dealing with thousands of people personally around the world, and it's funny because they all have the same issues. They all have the same obstacles and excuses. Within 5 minutes of talking to me, I just slap them, figuratively, slap them in the face, shake them up a little bit, and let them know that they're shitting themselves. They're lying to themselves, or they're believing society that's been lying to them, and that's what they're doing. They're just being a sheep going down the way, eating the bad food, getting on the medicine, and just really waiting to die a miserable life where you're not really happy. You're not living that fully, attainable life, a vibrant activity. You don't have that full confidence. And you guys, everybody listening knows what I'm talking about. You know when your jeans fit a little too tight. You know, guys or girls, when you're wearing that white shirt and you kind of nipples, you got that, the man boobs are sticking out. Or ladies, you got that back bra fat, or, you can feel your hips kind of hanging over the back of your jeans, your shorts. We all know that. We all feel that. Imagine how life is when you eliminate that. When you walk into a room and you feel absolutely amazing, anybody can do it. It just comes down to simple choices in your day.
And following through with it. Let me ask you this. I just got a question from Facebook. Can you, on the Dolce diet, can you still go out? Can you still go and have dinner out at a restaurant, or is it more that you need to prepare your own foods at home?
No, you can. I travel. I spent 189 days on the road last year doing what I do, traveling around the world. So I'm constantly traveling. Now, I plan and prepare when I travel. I'm self-sustainable. I make sure I'm in charge of what I'm going to eat. I'm not a victim. Oh, I'm stuck in the airport for 4 hours. I guess I'm going to have to go to the Sbarro or whatever the local Chipotle. No, I know I'm going to be traveling. I know how long it's going to take me to get from point A to point B, and I always add 50% on top of that, just in case things get in the way. So I'm prepared. When I travel, I have in my car, even throughout the day. If I'm going down to the post office, I make sure I have something with me in case I get a flat tire, in case I get a phone call and I get sidetracked. Now, people act like I'm weird because I do that, but I'm not. I'm walking around at 8% body fat. I'm 37 years old. I feel the best shape of my freaking life, and I'm probably busier than most people you know. No matter how busy you think you are, I work 7 days a week all around the world constantly. I'm always working. And a lot of people depend and rely on me. In addition to my book business and everything else that I do, I run an office, and I have a team, and I have a business that I run, and all these other athletes and executive people that I do deal with. So don't give me the bullshit that you're too busy. Now, when you're out there, you're shopping, you're in a hotel, or you're at a restaurant, when a waitress comes to me in a restaurant, have the menu, I say, what's fresh today? What's live? What's wild? What was alive this morning? What's alive right now? That's what I want to eat. And it doesn't have to be an animal. It can be plant. It can be plant-based. That's what kind of blows people's minds. It can actually be plant-based. You don't have to be a vegan to eat plants. There's so many different fruits and vegetables and seeds and nuts and different preparations in restaurants that you can get. But I always ask, what's fresh? Salmon? Oh, yeah, salmon's on the menu. Where does your salmon come from? It's Atlantic salmon. Is it farm raised or is it wild caught? And they'll go blank. I don't know. I can ask the chef. Please do. That was farm raised. Okay, I don't want that. I'm going to go with this, big, the spinach or arugula kale salad. I want you to add some extra beans on there. Hey, how about, got some asparagus? I'll get a side of that. I'll build my own meal. I'll go off menu. I have a health issue, I'll tell them. And they'll jump. Now, what is my health issue? My health is my issue. I have a health concern. My concern is my health. I'm not going to let you feed me your crap and your poison for profit. I'm going to tell you what you're going to feed me because I'm paying 10 times the price of what I can get for on my own. So that's how you handle it when you travel. And people, they might think you're the weirdo. They think you're abnormal. Somebody asked me on the podcast recently that they were really mad because they're on the Dolce diet as a husband and wife, and they both lost like 20 to 40 pounds each. And their mother, well, they had dinner with the mother-in-law, and the mother-in-law was like, why don't you guys just eat normal? Like, I'm sick of seeing you guys eat like this. Well, she's obese. And she's right, because they're not normal. She's the normal one. She's in the 66% group. They're the abnormal, but they're above average. Do you want to be below average or above average? That's the question. So when I go out, I take my health, my destiny into my own hands. I take responsibility for it. Like you said, accountability. So once you are empowered to make the decisions for yourself, it's okay. Would you let somebody feed your child crack? Of course not. Would you let somebody poison your wife or your husband? Of course not. Why are you going to go to a restaurant, let them poison you, and then make profit off you? Get the hell out of here. I'll tell you what I'm going to eat. And, of course, I don't go into a McDonald's. I don't walk into places like that. I was trying to find the best possible situation to go out and to enjoy these things.
I'm game. That's why I wanted you on, and I am now excited to start the Dolce diet, which I will do, and I have done because I started the water. I cut the sodas out. I'm excited. I'm going to keep track with you, like we talked about via text. And how can people get the podcast? Where is that at so that our listeners can start listening if they're not already doing that?
You can check it out. It's iTunes and Stitcher, of course. It's called The Mike Dolce Show. I mean, very inventive title, right? Pretty simple. The Mike Dolce Show, iTunes and Stitcher. You can go to the website, thedolcediet.com. That's kind of our portal to everywhere else. We have quite a few different websites because we have different niches, different types of people that follow us, not just the athletes. We have, a recipe group. We have mydolcediet.com, which is very support-friendly. It's a support group in a lot of ways. So with these huge recipe groups, all these different, smaller niche groups on there. Of course, our Facebook page, The Dolce Diet, and then the Twitter. That's my main interaction. I answer people's questions every day on Twitter. I love it. It drives me. Just like I'm talking to you guys. When I'm tweeting to people, I have the same exact passion. I think I'm put here for a reason. I'm put here to share information with people to make a change. Now, you guys may or may not know, I personally lost 110 pounds. I was 280 pounds not that long ago. I was a powerlifter. I was a competitive athlete, but I was only thinking about sports performance. And at 24 years old, I had an arrhythmia. I had sleep apnea. I was hooked up to a Holter monitor to check the function of my heart. I had high cholesterol. My blood pressure was getting out of line. And I said, what the F am I doing here? And that's really when I took my scientific background and I flipped it and I focused on longevity. Once I did that, everything changed. Everything changed for me. So I personally lost 110 pounds doing this, living this lifestyle. And that's kind of why I called the book Living Lean in the Living Lean Cookbook. That's what the series, that's what it represents. You don't have to be a pro athlete. You don't have to be a physical, you don't have to be a bodybuilder, any of that stuff. I don't care about that stuff. I want to live long and share as much quality time with my family as I can. I want to know my great-grandchildren and my great-great-grandchildren. I want them to remember me and be inspired by me. That's my personal goal. I don't do this for sport. I'm not I'm athletic, but I'm not an athlete anymore. I do this for life, man. I'm very young. I'm in the first quarter of my life the way I look at it.
Yeah, that's for sure. Final question for you. I know you've got things to get back to. We just had another Twitter question with Hector Lombard. The question was, did he contact you? Did you contact him? How did that relationship come together?
No, Hector Lombard and Dan Lambert. Dan Lambert is the owner of American Top Team. He's the manager of the athletes. I mean, Dan Lambert, he's one of he's one of the good guys. He's one of the best guys in the sport. He's been in the sport for a very, very long time. And I work with guys over at American Top Team, specifically Thiago Alves. So Dan saw what I did with Thiago and how I was able to really make Thiago healthy. Regardless of sport, I don't care about that as much. Get this kid healthy. And that's what we did with Thiago. We've been extremely successful. And Dan contacted me and he said, hey, would you be interested in coming out here and talking to Hector? He did so well for a while, and in the UFC he's had some issues. Mike, would you come on in, talk to him, talk about his lifestyle, and see if you can add anything to him, make some changes? I said, sure. So they flew me out. I went out there. I spent, time with Hector. I spent time with Dan and the team, and I love those guys. And that's how we started working together. And that's really what we just started working 2 weeks or so ago, and everything is going flawlessly.
And there's talk that he's going to drop in weight to welter, correct?
That's what everybody else is talking about. Right now, I don't care. All I want to see is a healthy Hector Lombard, and he's the boss, him and Dan. Whatever, Hector, Dan, and then Dana White, Joe Silva, whatever they decide is the right weight class for Hector, well, that's not a problem. whether it's 170, 185, 205, maybe even 155. I don't care. All I care is about having a healthy athlete. Once the athlete is healthy, then we can do anything.
Take it from there. Mike, I appreciate your time. Let's do this again real soon. There's so many more things to talk to you about, so many more questions, and I've enjoyed it. Thank you very much.
Guys, thank you so much. Sorry I took so much time doing most of the talking here, but you got me fired up. I really enjoyed being on the show. Thank you so much.
Thanks a lot. Mike Dolce, everybody. Check him out, the Dolce Diet, Living Lean. And I started it basically yesterday. And, we'll see what happens down the road.
Great interview.
Everybody's
with him.
Favorite person is on the line. At least I hope he's still on the line. Let's go out there. I haven't even given out the numbers yet. 855-483-6646. There is an empty seat here tonight.
Well, I hope you didn't fill it.
No, I was waiting for somebody to jump in, whether it's the two clowns here or
well,
you.
That's not going to happen. I got to tell you, I started my Dolce diet, too, on the drive back from Miami. I'm on my second bag of peanut butter M&Ms.
I expected a comment like that.
I'm feeling pretty good about that.
Good.
Peanuts come out of the ground.
Yeah.
Yeah. Hey, exactly. Now, during that interview, I want to know did Wegs keep his pants on or off? Because that's right up his alley. I'm sure he got all worked up.
He did.
I didn't know if he had to go. They'd take a minute in the bathroom while Mike was talking about natural foods and everything else.
You should have seen how many times Wegg's head was nodding up and down like, yep, that's true.
That's true.
Yep, I agree.
I was right with him the entire way, and that's one of the reasons why I like this so much, because so many people can do so much for themselves with diet and get themselves off of chemicals, get themselves off of medications, and really make a serious difference in their life. And that's one thing that's pretty important to me.
All right, with all that said,
and I'm just busting your chops, Wags, and listening to him. I mean, dude's passionate, and he knows what's going on, and it is important, and it starts with a few simple decisions, and when you start seeing, just like anything else, you start seeing results with those simple decisions, and you get more interested in it. But hey, the reason I wanted to call was, a couple weeks ago, Wags and I had control of the show. Randy, you were off getting a free meal somewhere, and Sean, I don't know, you were on honeymoon number 4 or something. And we brought up this Fallon Fox thing, and we were the first ones to talk about this and kind of introduce the conversation. And now this shit's everywhere.
Not only, Derek, is it everywhere, but we will have on this program next week Alana Jones, who will be fighting Fallon Fox, or however you say its name, on May 24th. So Alana's going to be on the program and possibly even in studio 3 days before the fight.
I mean, I just, this was when Wegs, we always busted, chops about preparing. He sent over show notes, and that was on there. And I remember kind of just marking it off like, no one's going to want to talk about this. Like it's a small, it's a smaller fight league in Florida. Not really on the national scene, this and that. And we ended up working our way in the conversation, and look where that conversation has gone now. It's cost Mitrione is, a suspended contract. Everyone's talking about this. It's pretty funny that it started out on a show about 4 weeks ago on Old Knockout Radio.
The organization that this fight will be going down in is CFA, which is here in the state of Florida. Interesting, though, how Zuffa wants their fighters to tweet, to be involved. There's Twitter awards. There's money to be had. And then when somebody makes a comment of his own personal opinion, he gets suspended for it.
Well, it was an ignorant opinion. I mean, you got to be smart about what you tweet. You have to be smart about what you put out on social media, even though they're encouraging you to use it, but not to use it be a dumbass. I think the great point with what Dana said with what was Mitrione's point of doing that interview by itself, but what do you gain from even saying anything about that, let alone the comments he did? So I mean, that's just a knucklehead move.
And hasn't Dana specifically said that we need to cut people from doing interviews unless they are leading up to a fight, something along those lines?
Yeah.
So I mean,
well, he said that yesterday,
right? So that takes out a huge chunk of their time that normally they would use for branding themselves, talking about their sponsors. That wouldn't just help take care of an issue with certain situations.
Let's talk about, the issue at hand then, Derek. Give me your opinion, of this whole controversy.
Yeah, we talked about it, when we first introduced this conversation. I don't know what to think. And I think that in this world of Twitter and of Facebook and social media, everyone feels like they have to have an opinion. And they have to have a reaction opinion right now. And to me, there's nothing wrong with saying, I don't know. I'm just going to see how this plays out. We had a caller that week who was a female who participated in BJJ tournaments and had done some fights. And she brought up a great point that I never thought of. And she said, when we're going in training and we're in camps, we're fighting against guys. We're sparring against guys. We're grappling with guys. So her point was, if this is what it is, so be it. You should be prepared for the fight and, be comfortable in your techniques and your skill to get it done. So, that was an opinion that I never thought of. And I thought it was a very, very solid opinion. Coming into it, my initial knee-jerk reaction was, well, this isn't fair. This is bullshit. But that was a very good point that, a lot of females in these high-level programs are sparring with guys, and they're grappling with guys, and, and that's what they do. So I don't know, to answer your question, I don't know where I stand on it. It's a very unique situation, and you just kind of have to see how it plays out.
Well, I would say that we all need to take a week or two to have an opinion, because I believe all four of us will be going to that fight. So
there we go.
So we'll be down there. We'll be covering it. And I did just get a text from my buddy Brad at Bonafide Tough Guy, who is sponsoring Alana Jones with his new brand, his new company, Bonafide Tough Girl. So he did want me to throw that out. Give me your take on WrestleMania over the weekend.
WrestleMania was okay. It was a $70 pay-per-view ticket, which is pretty steep. My take of it was, the crowd was dead. I thought for the most part, they really were into the Undertaker, CM Punk, and then after that, they seemed more into the guys who are on the show every week, and I hope that they took notice of that. They were pretty dead during the Brock Lesnar Triple H match. They were pretty dead during the Rock Cena. And my take was, those guys weren't on the show every week building up to this. They haven't been on the show for a whole year. So I hope this kind of takes away some of the part-timers just showing up for WrestleMania. Because then the Raw the next night, the crowd was insane, and they were into everything going on. But to answer your question, WrestleMania was okay. It was an okay show. The booking was predictable going in, and they went with that. There were no big surprises. There was nothing that, really kind of made you jump out of your seat.
You being the wrestling insider, and I haven't really been able to confirm it, with the Rock thing that happened on Monday, was that a shoot? Was that real? Did he really take off all upset? Give us the story. I'm calling bullshit on. They said he flew out and didn't let them know because he was injured. I think they're kind of covering for him on that. I don't know for sure. The word on the street was that they were supposed to kick off Raw with him coming out and with Lesnar confronting him to set up a WrestleMania 30 match, which to me makes sense because that's what they've done now the past 2 years. That Raw after WrestleMania, they've set up a big event to build WrestleMania 30 around. And the word was that they were scrambling, that no one knew where The Rock was, and, they finally got word that he left. I don't think they want to burn that bridge, so they weren't going to bury him, but it definitely, something was going on there. Interesting to see how and what, how it'll be played out. Who needs who? Does the Rock doesn't necessarily need WWE, but does the WWE need The Rock?
They don't need The Rock, but they sure do like the boost at the gate when he's there. So, they don't need him. But they do like the revenue and the eyes that he draws on the program. So they need, if you're asking who needs one more than the other, the WWE needs him more than he needs them.
As you know, in about 15 minutes or so, Josh Samman will be on, as he is each and every Wednesday night. Your take on what happened last night?
Yeah, very surprising. I didn't see that fight happening the way it did. I know you texted me right when it went down, and I had to watch it, go back on DVR to watch it yesterday. But, what are you going to do? He made it to the semifinals. He had a great run. And, I don't think his UFC career is over. I mean, he's obviously going to be on the finale show. And, I think he presented himself very well. I think not only on the show, but in front of, Dana. And, I think he's got a couple more fights at least that we're going to see him on TV.
Yeah, no, I agree with you. And Saturday he takes on Kevin Casey. So I guess it's been announced since I found it on the internet.
Main event on Fuel.
It is.
He is the main event.
There you go.
What do you think about the monster Uriah, though?
I'm sorry?
What do you think of the monster Uriah Hall?
Hey, I mean, he's a bad dude. What can you say about him?
Derek, I do have an issue that it's all over the internet. It's all over with, Twitter. It's all over everywhere. Asking, is Uriah Hall the best fighter to come out of Tough? Is Uriah Hall it's unfair, and again, we'll make a little Buccaneer analogy, that Sabby Piscatelli was called the next John Lynch. You can't do that yet. You have guys that have come out of Tough that have won championships, that have won titles. To say Uriah Hall's the best of them all, I think is a little unfair.
Well, I remember when, what's his name, Efron? I think was his name.
Efron.
Come on.
Well, and that's really why, and I know that you need to go and concentrate on driving, but real quick, that's why I wanted him on, because we're always talking about or always reading about Mark Dolce with the athletes. But I wanted people to know that he does even more us everyday people. He's out there helping everybody, not just the Hector Lombards and the Johnny Hendricks and those guys and Chael Sonnens and et cetera, that, even if you do a little bit, you don't have to do it all. Every little bit is going to save you a little bit of heartache for sure.
Oh, stop. Inches on your waist and body fat and all that fun stuff.
Have a very safe drive back to town, and we'll see you in studio next week.
Awesome, boys. Have a good one.
That is Derek Kukulich, not in chair.
At DCUCULICH.
Real quick, when you were talking about Uriah going into the big show, fighting the big-name guys, on his record, he's fought two guys that are currently on the UFC roster. Costa Philippou, who last fight beat Tim Bosch. He beat Uriah Hall. It was a decision. And the other one was Chris Weidman, who TKO'd him in the first round.
Hence.
Well, there you go.
You know what I said.
How about this, though?
These are two guys that were not in the UFC, obviously, when they fought.
And you're talking about pressure. He finished all three of his fights in the house when it's just the team watching and Dana and whatnot. He had a decision when all the family were there and to get into the house.
Interesting analogy.
Didn't finish that guy, but neither did Kelvin. Both guys had decisions of their first fight to get into the house.
Is it just me, or did this last fight, Kelvin, did he look like a Johnny Hendricks type fighter to you?
Yeah, he did.
That really struck me. I don't know why I didn't see it earlier, but I just felt that was very Johnny Hendricks-esque of him, the way he fought.
Before we hit this break, let me ask you guys a question, and think about it before you answer.
I don't do that.
Josh Samman has been on this program each and every week since the beginning of The Ultimate Fighter. Has nothing to do with that Josh has been on the program. Mm-hmm. How shocked were you on the outcome? First of all, shocked?
Yeah, I wouldn't say shocked. Surprised, yes, but
I was floored.
I was surprised the way it happened.
He beat him at his own game.
Yeah,
and that was what I got a call, earlier this morning, and basically said that Josh was beaten pretty much at his own game.
The way he did.
Nobody would have ever thought that would have been, what happened. But when we come back after the top of the hour, Josh Samman will be on. We do need to get a hold of Pat Miletich. Some interesting stuff coming out of Millicamp. I just called it that. I just trademarked it, Millicamp. And Norbert Hudak will be on about 7:15 when we talk a little Brett the Hitman Hart. Nothing?
No.
All right. 855-483-6646. Give us a call. Second hour. Got some cool stuff to give away. We may even get to it. We'll be back in a couple minutes. 855-483-6646. Pick up the phone. What?
You're just impressing. It's been 3 weeks now that You've remembered
that I've known the number?
Yeah.
I don't know it. I wrote it down. Yeah, I wrote it down.
Job security is done.
Yeah, I don't know what to do with myself now.
All right, so you mentioned last week was 85% a Bellator show, and some Bellator news came out today.
Yes, it did. Just a bit. I was kind of surprised that they announced a summer series, summer season, however they want to call it. I know they did it last year too, but a 4-man tournament? Really? Semifinals and finals?
Yeah, what's really the point of that? I'm not really understanding.
Something to do. They didn't say that it's for the contract, is it?
Yep.
It is for the contract?
Yep, that's how it all is.
Huh.
Not enough fighters on the roster in those weight classes?
Well, the weight classes was heavy, light heavy, and...
is it Bantam 135?
And Bantam. Hey, a lot on the line this weekend, by the way, fellas. A lot on the line.
At UFC.
At UFC. Tough finale.
Right.
Whatever the number is. Obviously,
17.
the Ultimate Fighter, is on the line. Big, for Scotty Jurgensen.
Big for Uriah Faber.
Well, I'm looking at it that whenever a 2 is fighting an 8, fighting a 9, fighting a 7, he has everything to lose.
2 and a 7.
And nothing to gain.
Yeah.
Uriah Faber has nothing to gain on this fight.
Yeah, because he's
2.
Yeah, he has nowhere to go. I mean, it's
technically isn't he 1? Isn't there there's a champion and 1A?
No, it's champion and 1. 1 is the interim champion.
Yeah, well, I don't really count him.
I'm going on what the UFC rankings says,
which I am a voter, a caster in.
Yes, you are.
So, let's see.
Well,
sorry, go ahead.
Go.
You have Miesha Tate, Kat Zingano.
Again, huge.
That's huge.
To coach the...
And that's why it's so big.
Which
it's not necessarily, for the Rousey fight as much as, it's the Ultimate Fighter.
I honestly think next season's going to suck. Because this season was so good. That it can't compare.
So even if it wasn't a co-ed...
Yeah, it doesn't matter.
It doesn't matter. How can you follow up something that was this good?
And we're talking about this being so good and everyone being mature and being professionals. I was reading, I didn't watch the Brazil 2. I guess the first day, Team Verdum burned all the mattresses. Everybody's mattress. So everybody has to sleep on the floor for the whole season.
God, I had some comments to make.
Was there a soccer match or something and they rioted?
I don't know. Two fights have already happened too.
I haven't watched.
Yeah. David's already fought.
Did he fight the first one or the second one?
He fought the second fight on the first episode.
The second fight on the first episode, and he lost a unanimous or split?
I believe it was unanimous decision.
And who did he fight? Or do you know?
He fought their number 2.
Their number 2.
But Verdum picked the fight because they won the first one. What happened was Verdum...
That's interesting.
Verdum won the coin toss and said, I want the first fight. So then Nogueira got the first pick. They set up the first fight, and now Verdum is 2-0 after two fights.
And while you're telling the story, when you're saying David, we're talking about David Vieira da Silva, who is from Rio, but then moved to Pinellas Park, Florida, had a gym here again, for a while, and then went back to Rio. So he was picked by Nogueira.
Yeah, he was the 5th pick.
The 5th pick, interesting. Surprised he lasted so long, to be honest. But maybe it was because of his fight to get into the house. Might not have been as impressive as we thought David Vieira da Silva, is or was. Getting voicemail on Josh Samman, by the way.
Oh, he's a busy guy out there. Did you see? I guess they were at Dana's house yesterday.
No.
Everybody was there watching the. I'm assuming it looked like a little theater room. Everyone watched the last episode together. Everyone looked, like they were having a great time.
No, I'm sure. And I said this to somebody this morning. I think a really attaboy needs to go to Josh. How Josh, we never read into. We were never able to read into anything that he said. He never implied.
He played his poker hand very, very well.
Well, it's in their contract.
Yeah, he has to, but, sometimes that's easier said than done.
Absolutely.
And... yeah, I had no clue from what he was saying. could have assumed that he made it all the way. But just so happened that wasn't really the case, and it was in a not all that spectacular fashion, but kind of surprised how it happened.
A lot of talk about the UFC's, or really it's Zuffa's, a code of conduct.
I didn't know there was a code of conduct until today.
Well, you couldn't assume that, considering that we've actually seen stuff like this before.
Yeah, you wouldn't think, with the Rashad thing, with
surprise van.
Yeah, yeah.
What was I didn't know there was anything written and set in stone. This is, when your president pops his mouth off all the time, he doesn't follow the same code.
But he doesn't have to.
He's an employee.
He's an employee of himself.
He's got two people above him. He is low man on the totem pole.
Of the three, he is lower than the two.
He's probably lower than the guys in Dubai.
No.
I believe
no.
The percentages.
Could be percentages, but he's not lower than those guys. All right.
Percentages.
With what you're saying, think about what you're saying. As you're growing up as a young child, okay, your parent.
I have a feeling I know where this
is going. Yeah. Your parent can do things, yet your parent tells you can't do those things.
It doesn't make it right that
it doesn't make it right, no. But that's life.
Do as I say, not as I do.
Exactly.
Yeah. Well,
it just doesn't set a good example for your child and or employees.
Well, apparently.
But I think if John Jones would have said it, then he would have said, "John, calm down." But what does suspended indefinitely mean to a guy who only gets paid when he fights? It's not like he's losing money.
Nothing.
It's not like they're going to bring him out to the fight this weekend or next week. It doesn't matter.
It is kind of ironic because when I sat at, 2 weeks ago, World Class Fight League, and I sat there as a judge, and I got to hang out a little bit with a good friend of mine who we all know, Miguel Torres, and he kind of made some of those comments. Like, I make a comment, somebody else makes a comment. And I basically said to him, life is a double standard. It is what it is.
Yeah.
You still want to fight in the UFC. You can make more money in the UFC. You make more sponsorship dollars in the UFC. So sometimes, whether you're a child, talking back to your parent, or you're, a fighter in an organization that has some double standards, you need to bite your tongue if the ultimate goal is to make more money.
All right. Not saying this is correct, but what I see. Frank and Lorenzo Fertitta own 40.5% of the company. Dana White, 9%. The Dubai company, 10%.
Okay. They may own more, but they're not higher in the... I believe they're not going to be higher in the total poll.
When you vote, your 10% outweighs the 9%.
I don't think it breaks down that way.
Just saying.
The position that Dana holds is president of the UFC.
Yeah.
And they're shareholders, so they can oust the president.
The only way the president's going to get ousted is if the two guys with the big dollars,
the 40.5 part,
then they make the decision. And I believe if Dubai says one thing and Dana White says the other,
Dubai has more capital than.
Dana White got the UFC where it's at, not
Dana
Dubai.
Runs the show.
All right. So last weekend we already had Derek on to talk about WrestleMania. We're going to continue. As we're going to try to kick it off each and every other week, or as often as Norbert Hudak can find some time to talk to us. He is on the line. We're going to talk about one of the greatest Canadian wrestlers of all time, Norbert Hudak. How are you, sir? Norbert.
Just kidding.
All right, I guess we're not going to click the button and get Norbert on.
He's still recovering.
Oh, I see. All right, never mind. That was my bad. I don't know how to read. It says Norbert with the, what's the pound?
Yes.
And a question mark. Oh. I thought it just said Norbert is on.
No, because he's asking you for Norbert's number.
Yeah, but Norbert will be calling in to discuss Bret the Hitman Hart, the Dungeon Collection, and we will be giving away a DVD or two or three or more.
Whatever it is, -1, I'm sure.
Got to save one.
You're right.
Got to save one for the empty seat over here.
Not save one. The empty seat got it last week.
Oh.
Because he was going
advanced copy.
He did get the advanced copy.
The screener.
So where were we? Back to the. So Dubai has a 1% share more than Dana.
Correct.
But in my opinion, I don't know how anybody could think that Dana's not more valuable than Dubai. That Dana would have more say than Dubai. So if you're trying to now say that Dana's 4 and not 3, I think you're mistaken.
I'm just saying what the numbers say.
I don't think
don't lie.
But the numbers don't matter in this situation.
There's a double standard.
Well, like I said, life is a double standard. Life is like a box of chocolates, but it's also a double standard, and that's the way it is in each and everything. So it is what it is.
That phrase got me through the military. Quick question. Does it surprise you at all seeing Nate Diaz change managers?
Yeah.
But staying with training at Gracie?
It surprised me that Nate Diaz made that decision only because of everything that's out of that camp with Cesar Gracie. With that said, no different than Melvin Gilliard leaving the Black Zillions, but staying with Glenn Robinson, who owns the Black Zillions. It's the same thing.
You think so?
Absolutely.
Well, but Nate is staying training under Gracie.
Yeah.
So he's changing the man. Well, it's similar, but it's opposite.
Right. Obviously it's opposite.
Yeah,
it's the exact opposite.
He's staying at the same place, but he changed the management. Couldn't that maybe cause some friction?
It could. It would cause friction if Cesar Gracie had it cause friction.
Yeah, it would be all on him.
It's all on him. Either he has to accept it or he doesn't accept it. I need to go a different direction. I know for a fact, I've talked to some trainers that manage fighters that don't want to manage fighters. Their job is to...
So how did they get into it in the first place?
They're asked.
And they just say...
I don't really want... Now...
Okay. Well, I mean,
the Matt Hamill situation.
Yeah.
Okay. All right. Duff necessarily didn't want to manage. His job is to train.
Okay.
But he was asked, hey, could you, blah, 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 blah. And because of the relationship, maybe with Gracie as well, I know some other gyms that's the same thing.
Okay.
Their job, Cesar Gracie, Greg Jackson, Pat Miletich, who we will have on here in about 15 minutes, their job is to train. Their job's not necessarily, to work their deals and sign their contracts and get their sponsorships. So a lot of times these guys don't necessarily want to do it.
Okay.
I don't know from Cesar Gracie. I haven't talked to him, but I'm just saying. So if that's the case, he's going to be fine with moving on because he doesn't want to do it to begin with.
So now talking from Nate's perspective, he moved to Mike Kogan, who heads up the Real Talk Entertainment Group, who manages people like Roy Nelson, King Mo.
Stand-up guys.
First of all, I'm really shocked at that. I didn't know Roy Nelson had a manager.
Why? You thought he ate him? So
I thought it was in-house. I thought his wife kind of pretty much ran and was his manager. So I was a little surprised when I saw that.
Well, he trains in-house, right? Because he trains in his garage?
In the garage.
And the kitchen.
So...
But how much? So you can't say that.
How much of a difference is it going to make for Nate now that he has a different manager? He's already.
It shouldn't.
He's already pretty much towards the top of the division anyway.
Hold on.
It really shouldn't. If this is Nate's decision, then Nate shouldn't have a problem. You know what I'm saying? If Nate goes and lets go, fires whatever his manager. And he's obviously cool with it.
Well, he's cool with it, yeah. But...
So, again, if let's be honest, we think we know Nate a little bit. We think we know Nick a little bit. You think they give a crap? He's going to walk into the gym like he did yesterday, like he did last week, and he's going to train. And if you have a problem, that's your problem. It's not his. You know what I'm saying?
Right, yeah, I understand that part. But will it affect his...
Time will tell.
Bookings or...
Well, it shouldn't.
Hopefully not.
It shouldn't because now his new manager is going to handle that. If his new manager does the job that he's supposed to do, he will get him to the things. He will get him his sponsorship. He will get him appearances. He will get him the things that only Bret the Hitman Hart's known for in Canada. On the line with us right now.
Impressive.
To talk a little Bret the Hitman Hart.
See what you did there.
You like that. Our buddy, Norbert Hudak. Norbert, how are you?
Norbert? Randy, how are you?
I'm fine, sir. How are you? Are you back and everything good from WrestleMania?
I have recovered from an amazing WrestleMania in New York City.
I can only imagine. Well, no, what? I really can't imagine what that experience was like. Not only is it WrestleMania, but it is New York City. It is Newark. It is, the whole 9 yards. I can't even imagine. And next year, in New Orleans?
New Orleans.
Yeah, that's going to be fun, too. And I tell you, it was 80,000 fans packing MetLife Stadium. And it's always amazing to be there and just enjoy not only the matches, but just the fans and how passionate they are. And it was great.
Before we talk about Bret the Hitman Hart, I'm going to pull a little WWE here. And I know last year, after the Cena and Rock situation on Raw on Monday, they kind of laid it out for next year. And I know that there's been some rumors on what coulda, shoulda, woulda on Monday laying out for New Orleans next year. So I'm going to throw it out right now. We want to broadcast there next on Friday before the event. We would like to be there in New Orleans.
Great.
Dead silence. Never good when I hear dead silence.
I'm in. You should be.
I don't know if that's a good idea.
So I'm just laying it out with you right now, so we have a year to put that together.
I should be there.
Well, hopefully we will be there with you.
Yeah.
Let's talk about tonight's DVD, Bret the Hitman Hart, The Dungeon Vault. Talk about that.
Oh, and, this is one of the great superstars of all time, as we all know. 30 years of just being one of the best in the ring. This is a very cool DVD set because it's got 8 hours of matches, okay, including stuff that's never been on DVD, rarely seen, matches all the way back to the Stampede Wrestling Vault, all the way through WCW and WWE bouts. But Bret Hart takes you through each of these matches, provides new commentary, thoughts, insights into each match. And that's what makes this a really special DVD for WWE fans and really Bret Hart fans.
Being a Bret Hart fan, back in the day, I loved watching them. The best there is, the best there was, the best there'll ever be. I'm really looking forward to opening up the DVD and watching the 1989 match against Andre the Giant.
That's something that a lot of people didn't even know he battled Andre the Giant. And that is, again, one of these kind of a deep track, if you will, from the music world in terms of being able to really sit back and enjoy the legacy of Bret Hart.
Talk about some of, and you already kind of mentioned the features, but I always like the speaking stuff. The matches are great, but I love when these guys get behind a mic, and Bret the Hitman was one of the best.
And, that's the thing, and not only do you get some of the bonus features and little segments and things from back in the day when he was just so great on the mic, but I think the coolest part is also just hearing him talk about it now. And, the fence has been mended a couple years ago with the WWE and with Vince McMahon, and so, he's kind of come back around, and it's good to hear him talking about his legacy, some of the great matches, and I think that's what's really enjoyable.
As I'm looking on the back and I'm looking at some of the matches that going all the way back, like you mentioned, Stampede in 1978, Italy in 89, the Tokyo Dome in 1990, Madison Square Garden. I watched the Bruno Sammartino last night talking about the Garden in 92, South Africa in 96. He pretty much not only was a superstar in North America, he was a superstar everywhere.
Wow, no kidding. And, just going back to even the Stampede Wrestling, there's guys I'd never heard of. And, being able to see him go in, these guys, and in a totally different environment that was the Stampede Wrestling. It's just a lot of fun. So you've got an international superstar, one of the most respected and enjoyed superstars that ever has graced the ring.
And again, as I'm reading the back of the box, it's a 3-disc set, but there's another guy that's name is on it, which takes any DVD to a whole new level when Ric Flair is in the DVD as well.
Absolutely. Whenever his name is mentioned, the
exactly.
party goes to a new level. So you got Ric Flair, you got Steve Austin, you've got Booker T, recent Hall of Fame inductee, Sting. You've got a battle between Bret Hart and Owen Hart, a no-holds-barred match. Diesel, Bam Bam Bigelow, Taker. It just goes on in terms of the legends that, of course, Ric Flair went up against, and a lot of those matches are here on this DVD set.
Beautiful DVD set. It's a 3-disc set. We will be giving away 9 of them by 11:59 tonight, as Derek Kukulich got his copy last week. So we will be giving those away. Before let me ask you first, where can these be purchased? How can people go out and get them if they're not fortunate enough to win them?
Yeah, you can go to Amazon, Walmart, Best Buy, pretty much anywhere WWE DVDs are sold. And by the way, the Blu-ray has a bunch of extra stuff on it, so look out for the Blu-ray as well.
So extra, and then even more extra. And then a question that I've had people asking me for 2 days now, when will WrestleMania's DVD be out?
That is coming out May 14th.
I knew it was right around the corner, and that's what I said. I knew it was pretty quick. So
DVD, Blu-ray, and digital copy. And again, it was an amazing event. It's going to be fun to relive that. So we'll have to make sure we talk about it in a few weeks.
We will definitely talk about it in a few weeks. I did get to catch the very end of the Hall of Fame with Trish Stratus and then with Bruno Sammartino, and I thought it was pretty emotional, and I liked what he said. And, this is a guy that was a legend back in the day, and today he is still just as big. Oh,
amazing. Did you catch the part? Did they cut out the part where Trish Stratus introduced her husband and the whole crowd booed?
Yes. Yeah, they did show that, and they kind of commentated that something to the effect that all the guys are going to hate that she's even, married. And then she announced that she was pregnant.
It was an emotional swing there for all the guys in the room, and she was praising her husband and then sharing the pregnancy with everyone.
No, nobody really wanted to know that, but I can't wait for the DVD. I can't wait to talk to you about it in a couple of weeks. Hopefully we'll talk to you again next week about another WWE DVD.
It's going to be great, and I'm planning to see you in New Orleans, so I look forward to that too.
There you have it. We'll talk about that. We have a couple months to get it together. Norbert, thank you for your time.
Thank you, Randy.
Norbert Hudak, everybody. All you have to do is email us. Go to the website, knockoutradio.com. Email me, name, address, all that kind of stuff. We'll pull some winners at 11:59:59. We're going to move Pat Miletich back a couple minutes because we're going to get a hold of Josh Samman. He just texted me, and we can update what's going on as he gets ready for his fight against Kevin Casey on Saturday.
Okay, so Josh made it further in the entire season, yet Bubba McDaniel is on the main event, on the main card for the fights this weekend, and Josh is the last fight of the Fuel card. Does that matter at all?
Well, we'll ask Josh
where they are on there.
I would say yes, but we'll ask Josh. I mean, Josh will tell us what his thoughts and opinions are. Main event on one, or
curtain jerker on the other.
Is that what it is?
Yeah.
I am a little surprised at that. Who's Bubba fighting?
Smith.
And it's funny
and it's teammates.
Yeah,
this one was former,
but they're really not teammates.
They spent 6 weeks together. They trained together,
but they're not teammates anymore.
But
it's one thing.
6 weeks every single day with a person, training with them and helping them get better. Them helping you get better.
That's almost a full camp.
But I understand. But then you're gone. Well, we've now reached out into Las Vegas. I'm sure he's getting ready and having things to do. But luckily, he has a few minutes for us, as he has done for the entire season. Josh Samman. Josh, how are you?
Hey, I'm doing well. Thanks for having me on. Sorry for the delay, guys.
No worries at all. Let's get right to it. Last night, got to be honest, a little difficult for me to watch, so I can imagine what it was, for you. But I got to give you credit, and I said this at the beginning of the show. You've been on this program each and every week, and we had no idea. We couldn't read into anything that you said, and you did what you were supposed to do.
Yeah, it was hard to keep everything secret until the very end. Especially with everyone thinking and assuming that it would be Uriah and I in the finals.
Go back in time. Go back in time and talk to us. What happened.
I think all of us just kind of underestimated Kelvin, and it's not one of those things where when you're in a fight camp, if you underestimate somebody, then you can kind of maybe neglect your training a little bit, or maybe not taking him seriously or stay focused as you should be. But in this is a situation where you find out on a few days' notice, so maybe underestimating him doesn't really have much to do with it. I'm not there's no way to tell for sure, but it's just one of those things where none of us saw it coming. From the very first fight that he had with Keto Andrews to Bubba, to Colin, and then all the way up to his fight with me. Nobody saw the kid's potential and the talent that he had. So, we'll find out what he really has on Saturday.
And obviously, you surprised at the outcome. We all were. Were you surprised how it was? I've talked to some people, earlier today, and they're like, basically they said Josh got beat at Josh's own game.
No, I think that was Kelvin's game. I'm not sure that was my game. I would have preferred to stand up and strike a little bit more. And obviously I don't mind being off my back and then working guard. And that's honestly how I thought that I would beat him. I thought that he probably would get the takedown. Kelvin's a guy who's wrestled his whole life. And, he's a good, talented kid, but I thought that I would have more for him. At this point in the tournament, I fought 4 times in 6 weeks. I can't say anything that's going to take anything away from Kelvin's win. There's no way to tell whether he would have won or not if I was 100%. But he also had to fight 4 times, so it's not, a lot of people have been asking me if that was maybe the cause of what had happened. And, like I said, there's no way to tell for sure. But, Kelvin he's definitely a special fighter. He puts the pieces together in a way that not many guys can. He's got a great intensity about him in the cage. So, like I said, I'm looking forward to this fight this Saturday with him in Hall.
Before I ask you, because I want to ask you, what do you learn? How, can you learn from that? I want to ask you something that you just said about, we'll see on Saturday. There's been a lot of talk about Uriah as well, with Chael saying that he can go on and beat Anderson Silva and this and that. And I said earlier in the program the same thing about Uriah. Let's see what Uriah does on Saturday and once he gets into the UFC, and fight some of those upper echelon guys. Thoughts on that?
It just depends on exactly on kind of what we just said before. Is are these guys going to let Uriah fight his game, or are they going to take him down to their world? I can't imagine anybody in the UFC right now. There's not going to be many guys that are going to be comfortable standing up and striking with Uriah. So, obviously he's a talented striker. He's been doing it for a long time. But I don't think Uriah's grappling is very good. I think that most of his experience in combat sports is kickboxing. And when somebody's able to take him down, I think they will be able to kind of grind out that win and maybe get a submission or a TKO stoppage. So I'm sure that's what Kelvin's going to try this weekend. It's hard to tell because a lot of the guys on Uriah's team didn't really train with him that much. They all said he was a pretty shitty training partner, and it wasn't maybe about a week into the show that everyone kind of stopped training with him. They showed, I think, a little bit in that I think it was actually at my episode with Thor. They had to show the little altercation between Luke and Uriah, and I think that was kind of the theme the whole time while they were training. Just this case of this kid who kind of went too hard in training and didn't really give a shit about his teammates very much.
Let's go back, and I just mentioned, you can always learn from a win. You can always learn from a loss. What did you take from that fight, which was probably 2 months ago, to prepare yourself for your fight on Saturday?
The fight was 4 months ago. Okay. It was in December. I just saw the episode for the first time a few days ago. So it's obviously it's something that I had replayed in my mind over and over again. Immediately following and leading up to the time that I saw it last week. I think I could just always be better off my back. Always work harder. My wrestling, obviously, I think is probably the biggest hole in my game for my whole career, and it's something that I need to work on, and I really got a lot of that in this training camp as well. Striking and submissions is nice, but it's also nice to be able to dictate where the fight's going to be able to take place.
I understand that you and the whole crew got together at Dana's to watch it last night or Tuesday night.
We went to a place in the Palazzo. It was a sports bar somewhere. The name of it is escaping me, but it was something that Dana set up, and it was pretty cool. We were all pretty excited to see each other. There's like I've been saying the whole season, there's really a large sense of camaraderie throughout the house, and even Uriah and I were joking around, and that was really the only confrontation that there was in the house was kind of between Gilbert and Kevin Casey, which they came out with like an internet extra last week about like some card games or something stupid, and then even for the most part when when Uriah and I were even living together, he never said anything to my face. He would just go behind closed doors and tell people that he wanted to fight me. So, everything was comfortable. Everything was fine, and we all had a great time last night.
And we are talking to Josh Samman, competitor on this season's Tough. Now, going over to this Saturday's card, we were looking at it, and you are the last fight on the Fuel card.
Main event.
The main event.
Yeah, I'd like to call it for sure.
Exactly.
And then Bubba McDaniel, who didn't go as far in the season, is the first fight on the main event card. Do you find that interesting? Does it matter at all? What are your thoughts?
It definitely matters. And I was giving Bubba shit about it yesterday. I'm not going to hide it. I'm jealous. All of us are jealous. And that's something that actually we got to give Gilbert credit for. Gilbert's the one that set that up. Gilbert's the one that he called Dana himself and said, "Hey, I want to fight Bubba." Bubba was talking shit the whole season. Is what Gilbert said. And really, Bubba and Gilbert didn't see eye to eye the whole time. But even between them, for example, again last night, everybody was very friendly, and even those two were, all hugs and handshakes. But I guess Gilbert felt disrespected at some point throughout the season, and wanted to fight Bubba, and so he set that up, and they got a little grudge match, and it's teammate versus teammate, and I think that's how they found themselves on the FX card.
And it's funny that you mentioned that because Sean kind of said about teammate versus teammate. Do you really consider, guys that you were together for 6-7 weeks as teammates now that you've been away from each other
absolutely.
for so long?
These are guys that I still talk to almost every day, So these are guys who I have my teammates who who I've trained on a team with for years. But I mean, even my close teammates who I'm in a car with right now, that I've been with for years, they even until they go through the Ultimate Fighter experience, no one really knows what it's like to live with these guys and have yourself cut off from the rest of the world and be in complete isolation and have nothing but these guys. So for 7 weeks, this tournament and my teammates were my life, and that was that'll always be a time that's special to me, and I like to consider these guys teammates for the rest of my career and the rest of my life.
Tell us a little bit about Saturday taking on in the main event, Kevin Casey.
Kevin Casey, man, a lot of people dislike Kevin. He caught a lot. I think he caught more shit this season than even Bubba or I did. From the fans and from the guys behind the keyboards and the monitors. But I didn't dislike Kevin one bit. I think he's kind of got a persona that he plays into, and people, it rubs people the wrong way. But I think Kevin is a smart guy. I just think that regarding the matchup itself, I think that Kevin has quit in him, and I think I'll find it and I'll beat it out of him in the first round or the second round.
How excited are you for Saturday? In the Ultimate Fighter is one thing, and they're not official and all that kind of stuff. To have an official UFC fight on Saturday.
The Ultimate Fighter fights, you got the gloves. They say UFC on them, and you're fighting in front of Dana White. But, man, it's not the Mandalay Bay, and there's not thousands of screaming fans and, my friends and family and everybody who's flying all the way out from Florida. So, the situation is definitely different, and I think the Ultimate Fighter was special, as I said, but this is definitely my UFC debut, and I intended to make it a good one.
Well, I know we're looking forward to it Saturday. Josh, congratulations on a very successful run on the Ultimate Fighter. Looking forward to Saturday. I want to thank you for being on the program. We're going to have you on again next Wednesday, but your envelope with the Maui Jim sunglasses are already in the mail. So by the time you get to your house, you'll be able to go out and get any pair of Maui Jims you want.
Hey, thank you guys so much for having me on, man. This season has been great. It's been a great experience, and I've loved being on the show with you guys. And I'll talk to you guys next Wednesday.
We'll talk to you next week, and best of luck on Saturday.
Thanks, Josh.
All right, bye-bye.
Josh Samman, everybody, and it's been a lot of fun having him on. And I think you're going to see, I don't want to say a pissed off Josh Samman, but a guy who knows what he needs to do on Saturday, a guy that probably feels he let it slip away.
Yeah, I can see that. I can see that a lot. And I really like the line, he feels that Kevin Casey has some quit in him, and he's going to find it and beat it out of him in the first or second round. That was great.
And it's funny as I watched it on Tuesday night when I got back from, we won't even say where I went, but it's another story. It just looked like a different Josh.
Yeah.
Now I saw him pacing back and forth, but maybe because it happened kind of so quickly, and how it all went down, and it was just kind of weird to me.
He went out into the middle of the ring, into the middle of the cage, and sort of did I don't know if it was trying to establish some dominance, some psychological dominance before Kelvin got in, but I noticed he went to the center, and then once the fight started, I just thought he lost it all.
Yeah,
he was very
weird.
slight, very sort of defensive from the get-go, and didn't really have a chance to establish himself.
And I think Josh just kind of said it, maybe in the back of his mind he overlooked them, maybe, and again, you don't have enough time, when it's only a couple days to not train, but you're still mentally looking at it differently. Don't kid yourself. Both those guys were looking forward and looking to Saturday.
Yeah, absolutely.
Even though it's 4 months until that fight, it's just a shame. And I believe that you will see a Josh Samman quite different than what we saw on Tuesday, which was really,
kind of so
back in December.
Yeah. Well, yeah, and it was a while ago, so he's had plenty of time to think it over, and I'm sure. I mean, with what he did throughout the season, I think he did enough to get a contract. Obviously,
well, I believe they all have contracts. Now it's just a matter of whether how long you stay.
Well, I think he did enough to get a little bit longer, and we'll see some more of him.
I don't know.
I think he's going to go out there and try to absolutely
demolish. Absolutely
pick apart.
I think this is the interview. This is
where they make the decision.
Here. Absolutely.
Yeah, right here. What these guys do,
because Zuffa is letting so many fighters go, you have to go in and make statements. Yes, Josh fought through some injuries. Yes, Josh got to the quarterfinals, semifinals, whatever it was.
Yeah.
But now you need to go under the lights at a real event with 18,000 people there, right? Yeah. And now perform.
And he has the promotion aspect that we talked about last week. He can talk his way in. Even after, when he goes through and does what he says he's going to do, he can go to Dana and just start talking about it. Like, this is my plan. This is how we're going to do it. A whole lot better than someone else who says, whoever they give me, they give me.
Right.
Well, you didn't ask for anything. We don't need you. Bye.
He needs to go in and have a good showing. I'm not even going to say a dominant one. Just he's got to go in there and get his job done. And I think we will see Josh Samman in future UFC events.
Certainly.
But I don't think that contract, all of these guys, they all have contracts, but I guarantee you that they all will not stay with contracted after Saturday.
Especially with so many in the stable of UFC. And speaking of which, Dave Herman coming back, being reinstated after his second round of being suspended for marijuana. He had to do a 30-day stint in rehab, and the UFC brings him back. Yet Dana saying that there's too many people in their stable, and they're trying to get rid of people. We've seen with him.
How many football teams did Terrell Owens get on?
What did he ever do?
Most of them.
I'm not saying that. I'm not saying that he did anything wrong, but I'm saying how many teams has he been on?
A lot.
A lot. Because when you have talent, teams will go out. Were you counting them up?
5.
Okay. And how many has Randy Moss been on? Count them up.
I think 4.
I think more than that.
5.
Well, I thought it was 6.
5.
All right, but still, that's my point. My point is, when you have talent, things are overlooked. Again, it goes
the double standard.
It goes back to what we started the show with, the double standard. If you have talent, if you can go and perform, whether it's on a football field, a baseball diamond, whether you know how to make strike calls in baseball or not, in case you didn't see, there was an awful call the other night.
Yes.
If you are a fighter with talent, you can make a mistake.
This guy's lost the last 3 he's fought.
I'm not saying he does, he doesn't. I'm just saying, obviously, they think he does. But it goes back to double standard.
Yeah.
He's now, back, yet Riddle is gone. Miguel Torres is gone. Now, again, I think Miguel Torres was brought back. Not I think I know. He was brought back. Then he fought after that. That is a big difference. I don't necessarily think that he has a complaint because he had the opportunity to come back. Matt Riddle screwed up, did some stupid stuff, and because things he said.
And he's not apologetic about it at all.
No, he was taking his medicine.
Right.
Didn't want to beat anybody.
Well, yeah, his family.
Thoughts on this
his
weekend?
Kids.
I know we only have a handful of minutes left. Thoughts on this weekend? Anything interest you? Doesn't interest you?
Again, main event really doesn't do anything for me.
What was the main event supposed to be?
Oh, God.
Remember? I don't remember.
Was this the... No.
And it was an injury.
Yeah.
Obviously.
Oh, I didn't even know that it was...
Yeah, this was never the...
Oh, Demetrius Johnson was supposed to...
Okay.
Have a title fight.
Okay. All right.
Was that against Moraga?
Yes.
Okay, there we go. And then it was rescheduled.
Yeah.
Run down the card, because there is a fight or two that does interest me.
Okay.
The return of Gabriel Gonzaga.
I like Smiley.
Travis Brown is who he's fighting.
I like Gabe. He's always smiling and he's always having a great time.
He looks like he wants to eat babies.
Well, come on. He's not Mike Tyson.
He's pretty pissed off.
I should say the return to the States of...
Right, because he fought in Brazil.
Twice. Misha Tate, Kat Zingano. Then the tough finale. And then your main event, Uriah Faber, Scott Jorgensen.
See, the
Uriahs go undefeated.
I see what you did there.
Yeah.
The fuel card, it's pretty much all tough fighters. Do you want to hear all those?
No, just saying.
Just saying.
How are the matchups? You don't need to read them all, or of the tough competitors. Are there any matchups that you guys can remember from the Ultimate Fighter house that you're like, yeah?
Not really.
And we'll have time.
Actually, yeah, not really.
And we'll have time next week to talk about. And I think it's a pretty good, big fight. With Gilbert and Benson Henderson.
Certainly. Yeah, I mean it's.
I don't think people are giving him any credit.
You don't.
Gilbert.
You don't think he has you don't think people think he has a shot?
I don't think so.
And is that because of the Strikeforce? The fact that he's coming over from Strikeforce?
Yeah, I think that's a lot of it.
And that should be you.
And that's what I was about to say is because you're going back.
You should give him no chance because he's a Strikeforce fighter.
Right. He hasn't fought under the UFC banner yet. But, I mean, I would say that he has fought against UFC quality people over in Strikeforce.
Some.
Yeah.
Yeah, some.
So if you're going by...
Defeated Clay Guida in 2006.
Well, that was also 7 years ago.
Then next week, and we'll talk more about it next week, are you guys extremely pumped for next week? For next Saturday?
Yes, absolutely.
I'm saying there's some fights that people I don't even think are thinking about.
2 weeks from Saturday.
Are
you talking about the Fox card? Or
yeah.
Are you talking about? Oh, I thought you were talking about 2 weeks from.
No, and we'll talk about Chael here
I've been waiting for this for months now.
And yeah, Bisping's on the card.
Who cares?
I do.
Are you kidding me?
Alan Belcher Bisping?
The tattoo bets.
Exactly.
Well, the last time they said there was a tattoo bet, it didn't follow through. So
I don't know.
I'm looking forward to Matt Brown's fight next Saturday.
He is fighting
Jordan Maya, who just fought.
Is he related to Damien?
No, I don't believe so.
Okay.
The Canadian who just was totally dominant in the Montreal card.
I
think you're talking
fighter.
about Jordan Meehan.
Yeah, well,
that
close.
one.
Yeah, it was close.
Yeah.
I haven't had a soda all day. Lack of caffeine's killing me.
Salt.
I don't eat salt.
It actually helps.
It does.
Yeah, Jordan, his last fight was his UFC debut.
Right.
And just was vicious.
And I remember looking up who he's beat, how he's beat, things that he's done in the past.
Because he's 27-8.
Yeah. And he is the real deal, and that's why they put him on this particular card. I know a lot of people are thinking he's not at Matt Brown's level, but it's a fight that I'm really, truly interested in. as I'm looking down the rest of TJ Dillashaw fights next Saturday. He's the main event on Facebook. Diaz Thompson, Mir Cormier. I'm looking forward to that one a little bit. Not to look past this week.
Interesting fight.
It is interesting. Did you hear what Daniel said about Frank Mir?
No.
He doesn't know many people that have taken the ass whoopings that Frank Mir has taken.
It's true. He has had the crap beat out of him.
Was he did he fight on the London card? I think he did, didn't he?
When you guys
Frank
were
Mir,
there?
yes.
Yeah.
Ian Freeman.
Yeah.
Got an ass beating.
Yeah.
No,
he's
Ian Freeman didn't get the ass beating. Frank Mir got the ass beating.
Yeah.
That was a stacked card.
Yeah, it was.
Well, and Brock worked his face over. He looked like hamburger meat.
What number was that?
With the Brock fight?
No,
London?
London. Taking a guess.
40-something?
Oh, I got it right.
30-something?
38.
Yeah.
Evan Tanner was the curtain jerker. Babalu Sobral, Elvis Sinisek.
Do you remember Elvis's face?
Oh, that you're talking about a messed up face.
That was bad.
Genki Sudo was on the card.
Elvis sat behind us. Elvis co-hosted with me the entire week when we were over there. And so Elvis and I kind of connected. He was a good dude. And I remember vividly that we were in the front row, and he grabbed a seat behind us, and he kept calling me, and I refused to turn around and look at him. That's how bad it was.
Oh.
Let's see if I can find a picture.
Was he spitting teeth?
It was awful. Very similar to Sean Shirk when he fought Matt Hughes down in Miami.
Ah.
That was bad, too.
Oh.
That's the part that I don't enjoy of the sport.
What, you don't like seeing blood?
No, friends get their ass beat.
No,
acquaintances.
I mean, it's not so much that as, just seeing somebody beat that bad.
Mm-hmm.
Losing a fight, I don't have a problem with fighters losing a fight. And that's why
it's the nature of the sport. It is the sport.
It is the sport. And, you have a just as good chance of losing as you do winning, obviously. But to see somebody, anybody, whether you know them or not,
just totally get worked.
Yeah, you see him leave the cage, and you just got to kind of feel a little bad.
Yeah. It depends. I didn't even know Roy Nelson was on the Bones Sonnen card. Nelson's fighting Czech Congo. You guys interested in that?
I'll be interested anytime Roy Nelson fights.
I just want to see if he's going to make weight.
Because, obviously he'll make weight.
What is it, 265?
He's not checking in at 280.
265.
I think he'll be fine.
What do you think he tips the scales at? 260?
He always has made weight, hasn't he?
I don't know.
I'm pretty sure he has.
Sure.
You better be careful. Be careful what you wish for. Okay. He won't take you to a buffet sometime.
Okay.
You keep talking like that.
That's fine.
You don't want to go to the buffet with Roy Nelson?
No.
There's some good buffets in Vegas.
I've been there.
Try to stick to Dolce.
That ain't going to happen. Yeah, he's going to... Actually, no. Your New York thing you're already talking about.
Schwartz is that's
no. I'm not doing anything. I'm in and out.
Yeah, you're like I can still have enough time to get to Carlo's Bakery.
No, I still get. Well, I really can now. I rented the car.
You have places everywhere.
And by the time I land, and by the time the doors open, I got time.
You have time.
But I'm not going to the bakery. It wasn't that big of a deal.
Get some Junior's cheesecake. Very good.
It's all good. It is all good, and we've got events this weekend, and I cannot wait. I'm looking forward to it. I hope the Ultimate Fighter finale will be a good fight.
I think it will.
Do you really?
Yeah,
do you really?
I do. I think, as I said earlier, I feel that. Sorry,
he put his chapstick on.
Shut up. I feel Gastelum
is it a flavored chapstick from Shark Tank?
What are you talking about? He's a similar fighter to Johnny Hendricks. I do think he is able to take a punch, and obviously that's going to be something he needs to do against a guy like Hall, because he's obviously going to try to end it quickly.
Let me ask you guys a question, and this is one of those difficult questions that I hate to ask. Do you think Josh Samman had a shot against Uriah Hall? No, the reason I'm asking for a reason.
Yeah, I think it would have been tough. He had a puncher's chance.
Oh, that's a good one.
So,
no, the only reason why I'm saying that is if you think Josh had a chance, then you have to think, that Kelvin does.
I do,
because Kelvin beat Josh.
I do.
It's just
I do think he has
the semantics of it.
Mm-hmm. And I agree.
I like what you did there.
I agree with what Josh said especially if Kelvin can get in close and utilize the wrestling and sort of get some grappling in and do work on Uriah, that is his best shot.
Before we run out of time, were you surprised round 1 of Uriah's fight? Because I was. I thought he was a little tentative. I thought he was a little hesitant. I think maybe he was thinking the
It was
pressure.
more of a chess match.
I just think he was more afraid not to make a mistake.
Mm-hmm.
And, a feeling out process maybe, but it was a thing that he didn't want to make a mistake because what was on the line.
Well, like you were talking about with me last week, they knew, or they should have known, that going into this fight, they have 2 rounds, and then they're off for 4 months before the finale. So they need to go out there, do anything and everything they can to win, and move on. So he was just trying to, I just didn't want to get caught, because then the whole thing goes down. He might have already seen what happened with Josh. We don't know what order the fights really went down.
Yeah, we should have.
But I think there was, I do believe seeing somebody in fight shorts and no shirt standing in the back watching.
So anything is possible.
Yeah, that's true. Again, creative editing.
That's what it is, and that's why they are the best. They're at FX, Fox Fuel, Fox Channel. Can't wait for Boston, by the way. It's right around the corner.
That's the debut of Fox Sports 1?
It is. It is.
Right.
And we'll have more details.
In August?
Just work the deal for Fan Expo tickets. We'll start getting the word out for that. That is in July. Tough Enough will be the Friday before. I'm going to get on Norbert. We will broadcast live from WrestleMania. I know Derek will like that. I want to thank everybody who took time out of their busy schedule to tune in. I want to thank all of our guests, as always. Josh Samman next week for the finale of The Ultimate Fighter on Tough. Hit us up on Twitter at Knockout Radio.
At KO Eggs.
Sean, KO Radio.
And, of course, at DCUCU LICH.